Brian Kelly and LSU made a statement in year one. Think about what was being said when Brian Kelly got to LSU. There was one portion of the college football public that said, great hire, home run hire, he'll do great things, a lot of resources. Okay, cool. One side of the public. The other side of the public said, I don't get it. Culture fit? Does he want to recruit? That's cool he did what he did at Notre Dame. That's great he did those good things at Cincinnati. I'm all about that. Awesome. But the SEC, man, it's a different beast. It's a different animal in the SEC. Does he have the chops? The question mark. Will he recruit? Can he recruit? Top 5 class. Box checked. Not a culture fit. I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to work. I don't know if LSU is going to accept him. I don't know if he knows what he's getting into in the SEC. Y'all, that team at LSU, not only did they win games, they won games Brian Kelly's way. You saw them multiple times in the fourth quarter, in close games. Their persona, their attitude, the way they approach things, it was a no-flinch mentality. The culture was strong. They bought into what Brian Kelly was selling. Is he a fit? So far, so good to me. In crunch time, when you can't hide culture, when you're going for 2 to beat Alabama, showed up big time. It's not going to work. Grady had success, but it's not going to work in the SEC. Played for a conference title in year one. So far, in year one for Brian Kelly and company, I think it's very fair to say that they were just straight up Mythbusters. Everything that you thought they weren't going to be able to do, all the reasons you thought he would fail, he heard that, processed it, went about his business, and busted all those myths. And everything you said negative about him, he proved wrong. Brian Kelly and LSU, statement was made in year one. Mythbuster style. If you have not yet subscribed to the On3 YouTube channel, man, we would love to have y'all a part of this community. College football content every single day. The sport that we all love, that we get to talk about consistently, live on Tuesday, live on Thursday, right here. It happens every single day, like I had just mentioned. Also, follow me on the socials at JD Piquel on Twitter and on Instagram. Just a great medium for us to hear from you and do more of the content that you want to see. Quick shout out to all the LSU faithful. Y'all have been rocking with us throughout the entirety of the season into, and I'm imagining through spring football will be a whole lot of fun. So thank you for that. We appreciate y'all. So here's what this whole offseason period is about. There's not really an offseason, but the second portal window and them now starting to move from signing day to recruiting the 2024 class and what they're doing in-house, paying dues right now, by the way, in winter workouts. The least glamorous part of the college football calendar, they're paying their dues. Right now, this is about maturing the culture for Brian Kelly and company at LSU. Year one, the mantra was like, all right, here we go. Brian Kelly says, here's how we're going to do things. You either get with it or you get gone. LSU got with it. LSU, like I said, the culture was strong. Year two is more of a here we are. Year two, this whole spring and winter phase leading up to the second year of Brian Kelly and LSU, it's a here we are. There's no more excuses. No longer is there the excuse of, yeah, it's going to take a second. They're going to figure it out. No. Brian Kelly in year one set the bar for what LSU football is. Year two is a here we are year. Last year, you had a lot of really good dough, if that makes sense. Like whenever you're making bread or making some cookies or whatever it is, you have good dough and you can be fine eating dough, especially if it's cookie dough. Like you'll take that all day long. But when you put it in the oven, let it bake a little bit, let it go through that process, let it mature a little bit, then you got something special. Then you have a finished product. Then you have something you can take anywhere and win. And that's what the plan is now for year two. So year two is a here we are year, letting it bake thoroughly through winter and through spring football. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be very exciting when the entire culture gets stable and infiltrated throughout the entirety of the team, not just some key positions. So what can you expect for year two? You made the statement, proved everybody wrong, believe the win total in Vegas was like 7 or 8 wins. You won double digit. Played for an SEC conference championship. Expectations for year two are onward. No backward movement. We just told you Brian Kelly set the bar way up here for what LSU football is going to be in the SEC. We are a top-tier elite program. Not a program, we are a program. Some of y'all that have stuck with us for a minute here, you know what I'm talking about. So that's the expectation. But here's what I would also throw in there. Regardless of what happens in year 2, LSU is in a new spot under Brian Kelly. Even as the culture gets installed, even as they are going to add more personnel to this elite team, and as they're going to get some of these top recruits in there, Shelton Sampson, Lance Hurd, as they're going to go to work here, Brian Kelly and LSU, from an approach standpoint, from how they handle their business, is more professional. They're more transactional. They don't flinch when things get crazy. They don't fold under pressure. Like, that's who LSU is. And I said this before in a different video. There was a couple of plays that fell LSU's way. If they don't convert that 2-point conversion against Alabama to win the game, if they don't get that done, you saw the culture of them being able to get it done. But if they don't get that 2-point conversion and beat Alabama, I don't think any less of LSU. For them to be going toe-to-toe with Nick Saban and Bama, that should tell you enough about where LSU is as a program. So for them, the expectation is the expectation. The standard is the standard. Win the SEC, play for natties. Like, that's how they get down in Baton Rouge. And I love them for it. But if there is any sort of step backwards on the win and loss column, that doesn't change how I feel about Brian Kelly and LSU. He's building a thing with staying power, year in and year out. There's no ceiling in Baton Rouge, but the floor has been reestablished, and it's pretty high. It's also very solid. So I'm fired up for LSU. Like I said, made a statement in year 1, proved everybody wrong, Mythbuster style. They're starting to install the culture, shore it up a little bit. It's not just going to be doughy. It's going to be baked thoroughly. Should be very excited about that for year 2. Standard is the standard, man. Does not change. But regardless, Brian Kelly and LSU are in a different place as a program. This has been The Hard Count. Nick, Break, Lift, and Heavy. This is y'all's show. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this. It's an absolute blast to talk about the sport that we all love so dearly. Join the party. We'd love to have you part of this. We'd love to have you part of the community and hear from you. Like I said, I'm on Twitter and on Instagram at JDPakel. Follow me there. Hit me in the DMs. We'll have a good time. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.